to bring her in here to talk about what the treasurer's office does. In this case, it's tax season. This is a perfect time to talk about this. It might be to bring in the tax director to get more knowledgeable and insightful into how properties are assessed. I think those are things that you as a commissioner should know. And the things that occur in my office, I can tell you, I could have never answered those questions before I worked there. Heck, there's a handful of questions I probably couldn't answer for you now, and I've been there for 3.5 years. This is way more sophisticated than people would like to believe, and it's not as simple as touching a button on your keyboard and all of a sudden your taxes are calculated. So,
unfortunately, every department, we're really not geared to tell anybody how to run their department because we don't know.
No, but the more you can learn about it, I think the better you will be equipped to do your job.
Right, we can be aware of it.
And trust me, it was no different with the school board. I'd have people sit right next to me that say, of course I know this. No, you don't. Okay.
And you know what? We're very, very lucky because we have very good employees that are on top of all this stuff. With that said, Laura, you're on.
Okay, so I will kind of try to go through some of what we have in the process for property tax and maybe a few other things here. So, budgets are submitted so that in August we're able to send out estimate tax notices. Once estimates tax is generated, we go through a checklist for the 78 taxing districts. The estimate tax has a default not to print if the proposed tax is less than $100. That's usually 17 reams of paper or 8,500 sheets of paper and about $2,043.97 for postage. Usually 9 trays and 2 tubs of mail get to the post office before August 31st. That is our deadline. There are usually questions because specials are not part of the proposed tax, and we don't have all the specials for the parcels from the cities or entities that will submit a special to attach to the current tax year. Starting in September and October, mortgage companies are contacted for a current printout of escrow parcels. This is updated in taxation. Mid-November foreclosure process is at the auditor's tax sale. Parcels are sold are posted into taxation and estimate tax month. This is a date specific for October 1st, so the tax program has the correct amount. Any excess will be tracked and if unclaimed sent to state. The foreclosure process starts in May, and notification is done by the auditor's office. We keep a record of parcels that get paid, and we will need to notify the auditor's office, the recorder's office, and the clerk of court's office because they all have something to do with foreclosure process. After budgets are finalized, mill levy sheets are created. That's the auditor's office. This is used to generate the current tax in the taxation program. And taxation is the name of the software program we use. When taxes have generated, we go through the checklist again, then print the statements. This year we had 25.5 reams of paper, or about 12,750 sheets of paper. Also, we had already printed 3,000 taxpayer letters. It's printed on both sides. One side is the treasurer's letter, the other side is the auditor's letter. Those are all stuffed, and in the last 2 years we've had an additional notice for the primary residence credit. Those all get stuffed into envelopes. We keep track of how many ounces each of them are so that we can apply the postage. This year our postage was $2,591.17. We had 13 trays that were stuffed pretty good and 2 tubs. That went to the post office. We were a little late this year because our software program had changes. So we did, usually it takes us a week and a half to 2 weeks to get that all done. We started, Dan let me come in Sunday and start printing. So Monday we started folding, and Thursday and Friday we delivered to the post office. We try to get them out the first part of December because we have a lot of taxpayers that want to pay by the end of the year. I also notify the mortgage companies as soon as possible. We'll start emails, but some actually get a notification in the mail of the tax due on their mortgage parcels. In mid-December, we start to receive the payments. They are posted to taxation. We double check the receipts posted with payments collected daily. We receive payments from individuals, online payments, mortgage companies, and those taxpayers that have a share of a parcel. Sometimes the check received can be applied, and sometimes we have to wait for additional payments to arrive. I have taxpayer notes to follow on this. My notes are about 50 pages long. We also have to watch checks for accuracy. We have some common errors that happen. The check where the numerical amount and the written amount do not match, or the check is unsigned. If possible, we'll call about the error, but many times we have to return the payment with the letter and wait for it to be resent. We also have to voucher out from estimate tax to apply. The estimate tax fund is where people will pay into, and when we have foreclosure, they have to pay the upcoming year. That goes into a fund. I have to voucher that out, apply to the current year, and get that done. We complete a daily balance sheet to verify we're matching up with the bank ledgers for all the deposits posted, any online payments, any recorder office payments, the monthly interest earned, payments from states such as state aid, highway tax, or township tax. We also, any special payments such as, like we've had the ARPA, the LAT, the House Bill 1066, or the Prairie Dog, we've had that. This is also a check on any miscellaneous receipts that are done, warrants or treasurer's checks issued. We select one day each month to do an end-of-month balance sheet. Our exception is December, when we must use the last day of the work year. By selecting a day, we complete an end-of-month balance sheet and no more changes, receipts, payments, or anything on that day. When the balance sheet's done, Renee runs post-accounting. This is a program in taxation that will organize the tax payments collected throughout the month into specific funds and specials. We work with the Auditor's Office to compare the results for recapitulation draft and the ledger, so that we are all in the same. The funds all need to be verified to the penny. The ledger shows the value of each fund at the end of the month, and that is carried into a new month. Payments are made out of the fund by an auditor's warrant. Schools are paid every month and tracked with and sent a consolidated report by the end of June. Other taxing districts will receive payments 4 times a year: January, March, July, and November. We can start a new month with collections, entering vouchers for payments made, miscellaneous receipts, or any payments other than tax received, post to our prior tax years separately. We continue to check online payments to post and record. Taxes are received and posted if shares or mortgage companies are tracked. If any overpayments are made, we will send out a treasurer's check for a refund. Things that affect the amount collected for taxes are our homestead credit, our veterans credit, and our primary residence credit. We're collecting tax, but some are reduced by a credit received, and some payments that have a 0 consolidated tax are only the specials collected. We will not receive payment from the state until about June for the credits. This data is entered into by the tax director's office. We have a worksheet set up so that when the payments come in, we will be able to enter into miscellaneous apportionment and have the tax program organize how much will go into each fund. Another thing that affects collections is abatements. It is additional work for our office and the auditor's office. An abatement will reduce the amount of tax collected. However, that amount will be from a previous month or even a previous year. It's important to watch that funds are collected for that time before an abatement is entered, because it creates a negative for the taxing district affected by the abatement. When the abatement's processed, a refund is sent to the taxpayer. Additional work is involved when we have done the end-of-month cutoff and our graph and ledger are accurate. Then we go back into it, and each line item affected by the abatement has to have the amount subtracted from the fund collected. This is not a one-step. It is going through the recapitulation and the ledger pages and the line one by one to make sure the amounts are correct. And that is both offices will be doing that. Mobile home is another tax that is collected. The tax director's office is responsible for mobile home collections and make the taxpayer receipt for the amount collected. It's put into a fund, and then in March, the total amount of tax year paid is vouchered out and applied in taxation. Mobile home is different because the tax is for the current year. At this time, the 2025 tax is being collected. Since there is not a 2025 in taxation, the payments received are put into a fund that we track, and will be vouchered out in 2026 to apply. There's always a few glitches each day. We do our best to keep up and clear the payments received and get those payments deposited to the bank. Even though the collection slowed down, we will be sending out reminders of unpaid tax in March, May, July, October for the second half, and November. Those payments that are delinquent are posted. We keep each year separate. The tax program will calculate penalty and interest daily. I'm still waiting to post the 2024 tax statements online. There was a problem with this because of the changes required for the primary residence credit. As soon as I get notification from that the process has been updated, I'll run the program to post the statements online. This was started a couple of years ago, and we've been getting some calls asking for them, so it's good to know it's being used. We will also be updating CD's estimate tax and keeping the worksheets up for the P card and warrant log. We have a few, right now we have a few address corrections to do and pledge reports. SAM renewal will be May or June. August, we work on disposal report for outdated forms and submit that report to state. February, we'll have probably this year a payment to unclaimed property because of excess funds from the auditor's tax sale. We'll have deeds to catch up on. We'll be watching for taxes to be current because you need to have current taxes to get the deed recorded, and then we update our addressing from the deed, so every time they get a deed, we actually have work to do. Through the year, we have the responsibilities other than taxes, which are the miscellaneous receipts for monthly reports from like the sheriff's office and the clerk's office, any other payments to the county. We also update during the summer months when we have a little more time. We have a card file for every taxpayer and the property they own. Mostly it's a backup in case there's a crash. So we update our card file and address book over the summer months. We also update our treasurer's tax log, which we keep once a year updated, and that will show anybody who has not paid a tax and back years and stuff. Every month there's our bookkeeping, followed by posting vouchers and a report to state and a breakout for Garrison. And the only thing probably that's additional this year is that we used a new credit card service. So we have switched from official payments to a new credit card service because they were going to give us a better fee that gets charged to the person using it. And that seems to be going pretty well. We've been getting quite a few online payments. So other than that, right now we're just busy posting tax.
Thank you very much. That is one busy office.
The bottom line is they hardly have any time to play solitaire.
Anymore, and my head was gonna hurt.
That's only 2 pages.
Well, but I mean.
Was it, I believe the fee structure with the new item is about cut it in half, correct?
Yeah, just for the credit card, because the credit card was going up, I think they were 3.85 or 95, and now the credit cards are a minimum of $2 and 2.45% of the transaction. Electronic checks were they $3.50 or $4, and now the electronic check starts at $2 up to $2,999.9 and $3,000. $2, $3, $2, $3, $5, I think are the fees.
So there's an example of a service that's made available to the public thanks to Laura and her office that nobody will ever say thank you to her for. Right? But she will save collectively people in Wells County hundreds if not thousands of dollars.
It does save, and it's becoming used more. When I first started in official payments, if we got 20 payments, and one day alone we had 8 payments now. So it's
and
getting used.
this question came up earlier today, and I don't even know if you can answer it. To date, would you guesstimate a third of taxes have been paid? I don't think it'd be a third, but maybe a quarter.
Well, we're getting probably a quarter. I've got a lot of shares that I have to wait. Like I said, my notes on that are 50 pages long. So we've gotten a good amount of shares that we're waiting for those. And then I am working right now CoreLogic is probably our biggest mortgage company. They sent out 21 checks that I have to verify that they are applying for parcels for their escrow payments, and we'll get that posted, and that's going to be quite a few payments. The $500 primary resident credit thing is good, but challenging. And that's one of those things where your taxes were reduced by $500, and we won't get that money till June. So, you know, we are collecting those taxes, but not necessarily the full amount.
Right.
Not till I get to June. And then I created a spreadsheet, and we run it through miscellaneous apportionment, and then I put it into that spreadsheet so we know how much can go into each fund from that. It won't affect specials. You know, specials are not affected by any of those discounts, not homestead credit, veterans credit, primary residence. That specials are their own thing. They get collected, and that whole amount goes out to the cities or entities that have requested it. And so it's, yes, we're collecting, and we're collecting well, but we're not going to get the rest of it until
We're
probably
paying
June.
forward.
You get a lot of calls from people saying, gee, I forgot to do it, can I have it yet? Or how do I fill this out? Or a lot of those nuisance calls.
Well, they don't know, so it's not necessarily a nuisance. But
Not nuisance,
we're
but
getting a lot of calls. We get the online statements. We used to get a lot of calls for email me a copy of my tax statement, or mortgage companies, email me a copy of this. With the online, they can go and get it themselves.
Right.
So we've had several calls this year because I don't have it up yet. And I've had a few companies that have paid the 2023 because they went and pulled it online, because I got it off the website. It's like the 24th not there yet. So they paid 23, and they're sending, I got 2 of them, they're sending me more checks. So it's good to know that it's being used.
right.
But, yeah, a lot of credits, and the homestead credit, veterans credit, and primary residence credit are basically handled by the tax director's office.
Right.
They do the data entry for it, and I actually can run the report, and so I do have a spreadsheet kind of for when that comes in to see what funds it goes into. It's kind of coded by jurisdiction, and then the jurisdiction has to break out their funds.
I would imagine the legislatures will call all the treasurers in the county and ask them how they can make the new rules easy, won't they?
Well, there's a prime
What do you
example.
think, Dan?
No,
There's a prime example of how the legislatures wanted to do everybody a good deed, which they did.
So, I
But
mean,
logistically, it was a nightmare.
Right, that's what I'm saying is.
Or administratively.
Yeah.
well,
It's-
and
It's a challenge.
Yeah.
we did, I mean, and granted, we can't speak directly to everybody, but people claim they know this stuff.
Yeah.
They don't know this stuff.
No.
And
There's a lot.
I don't care if you pay your taxes on February 16th as opposed to the 15th. It creates a lot of extra work for that office.
Oh, yeah.
Or if you're delinquent in your taxes, or you don't pay the full amount, and you, okay, now you gotta start applying interest to this, and the interest doesn't go to Wells County. It goes to the political subdivision that got shorted because you didn't pay your taxes, and she's gotta figure all that stuff out.
Yeah.
This is a lot of work. I don't mean a lot of work. You know what I wanna say here. It is a lot of work. And there's far too many people. Maybe ignorance is bliss, but they all think they know what's going on, and they do not.
Yeah, it is hard when we have to back taxes because, you know, we send out the notices and you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
Right.
You know,
Amen to that.
I notify you, I notify you, and we have had a couple of times where people have called and their property's already gone through foreclosure, and like, well, what are my taxes?
Oh, geez.
Sorry, it's not your
County's
property.
paying those for you now.
It's not your property anymore. What do you mean it's not my property? You know, and we do try to follow up. You know, it happens, sometimes they end up in a nursing home, or they're just,
That's another story.
you know, aging, or it's lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
You know, there was one that they were gonna lose theirs, and Julie found something on Facebook, and it was the wife of the son. She just sent some random email, and they thought, well, their mom had been in a nursing home. They didn't know she had property in Wells County. So they did get it caught up and taken care of. I think they might have actually sold it now, though, because the mom passed away. So it does happen that people get behind. Some we have frequent flyers that I know they just won't pay until they're getting that letter in May. But, you know, I'm sorry, if you've been notified, you get a certified letter, you're notified. If you don't take the time to make the effort, I can't feel sorry for you when you lose it.
That's not our fault.
You know, there's a process, and we follow it.
And again, there's absolutely nothing in this for Wells County. Nothing. The political subdivision has a right to get their dollars collected, and that's what that process is for. So Wells County is not taking your property because they're gonna benefit from it. In fact, we're not. All we're interested in is getting the fees that you are legally obligated to pay as a responsibility of ownership. And so thank you very much, Laura, for coming in and sharing a little bit.
Thank you.
That was a very good report, thank you.
Well, I said Dan was picking on me because he's gonna have the other guys do it too.
Excellent. Brent, you rested up, you ready to go?
I'm ready. The road department guys do have a little time to play solitaire right now.
Which is a good thing this time of the year. I would like you to deliver those. The
Yep.
Harvey guys aren't in there. I happened to see them yesterday.
Get them delivered today, Chief. Nice to see you, by the way.
Thank you.
Well, it's a pretty quiet month. We're working on plows. We went to Minnesota right before Christmas. We'll have one fixed. I don't know if it'll get done tomorrow, but it'll get done Thursday. A lot of work to cut frogs off and replace frogs. But in the long run, it gives us something to do, and it saves us a trip to Minnesota. That's a 13-hour there and back trip to go get parts. And normally when these things happen with these plows, the companies bring the plows up to Little Falls, and Little Falls does all the work, and then you go back and you get your plow. We went there and got parts, and our guys are fixing it, and it's saving us money, and it's giving us something to do.
Do they do that in Harvey or here?
We got one that's almost done in Fessenden, and in Harvey there's one that's ready to be started on. But the Harvey guys right now have the chip spreaders tore apart. We ordered quite a bit of parts for the chip spreader in December after I talked to you guys, and we got those parts. So those three guys, we were a really skeleton staff around Christmas, as you guys can imagine. There was guys that needed to use vacation. It worked out this year where guys could use vacation because the weather was so nice. So we're just getting back to full strength again. But yeah, I would guess the Harvey guys will start working on the one next week. They'll have the chip spreader probably completed by the end of this week. And we will have the one in Fessenden done by Thursday, maybe even tomorrow. A lot of welding, a lot of grinding, a lot of torching. I had somebody come by when it was so cold, and they said, "You want to explain to me why you guys have your walk-in door open?" Yeah, we're trying to breathe. We had the exhaust fan going. We're not intentionally trying to waste propane, for God's sake, but you know there's always somebody watching, especially when it's not snowing. You guys know everybody's wondering what we're doing. So other than that, I don't have really a lot for you. I have a few questions, but I don't know, my one question is I'm assuming there's going to be some pretty big announcements made at the Association of Townships. Is on
Regards to,
how we're going to take care of summer blade.
oh,
Pay
that's down the line.
Oh, is that on the agenda today?
Yep.
Okay. And I guess I just was wondering where we stood with that. And where, I don't really want to get into it in here where it's in the paper, but possibly some suggestions.
Say a word.
Some suggestions on some options that the county is going to possibly have to pursue when we have a gentleman that's gonna be retiring here in a year or so or less. I haven't got a complete answer, but, you know, I think maybe we need to discuss going to 7.
Blades?
Try to cut some corners.
It's an option.
It's not anything we want to do, but I can tell you this, 7 blades can maintain the gravel roads in the summer. No problem.
So you say that according to the constituents out there.
Well, there's a lot of questions. I mean, you know, at what point, you know, at whatever the decision is made on how we're going to, you know, possibly have the townships do some paying for some blading. And, you know, at that point, I think it's very important that we also, when we tell them what we're gonna do at the end of February or March, whenever that meeting is address how many times these roads will be maintained in the summer.
Are we
Because,
on item 6 and 7 now?
Well, there's 3 things.
no, I mean, if you wanted to stay on
No, actually, I
agenda,
think we'll add those to it now, but the 3 things we need to talk about are the county road priorities, county townships, roads and billing, and then the road weight scale, if you'd like your opinion on that too. But let's move down to probably start with the county road priorities. And one of the discussions was, we need to finish Hamburg, right?
correct.
Okay. After that, we should start looking ahead. And the next one probably, and it's gonna be really controversial, but probably look at grinding from the blinking light south.
Yeah.
And make that a good road.
I agree, and it's gonna be, Boone and I had this conversation one day. It's gonna be very controversial
Yeah.
because nobody wants to lose their pavement, and I get it. But in my opinion, and I'll stick my neck out, I know the county can't afford $10 million for a road that goes to a wide farm to market gravel road in the next
And
county.
that's the point. You're going from that to another gravel road, what the heck?
And I think, in fact, I know, because it's happened on the other roads we've ground up. The first 6 months, you're gonna hear complaining. In about 9 months to a year, they're gonna be thanking you.
Yeah.
And
You know,
it's,
the other
do
thing
you
is-
wanna do you have to deal with the 6 bad months to get to the good? Because what can happen there is that road is ground up, you're driving 55 miles an hour down it, you can get your weight scale up to 105.5.
Yeah.
And there's only 2 properties along that highway where somebody lives right next to the road. So dust should, I mean,
Dust.
besides the shop at the very end, there's only 2 people that live right next to that highway. So dust really shouldn't be an issue.
And a church.
And a church, but,
But
you
some
know,
of
they're
that-
there 1 hour a week.
Yeah. When you grind some of that pavement up in there, it's not as dusty as a regular
No.
gravel road anyway.
No, it's not. And the people in Heimdall and Bremen, or not, yeah, Bremen, north of Bremen, and over by Heaton will attest to that. You know, I mean, eventually you have to put some gravel down. I mean, you have to cover it with some gravel. But in the long run, you know, number one, they have a very experienced motor grader operator in that area, and he's already preparing for that to happen. And that, you know, I mean, it's just a necessary evil that we're gonna have to address in this county because of cost.
Well, there's a lot of upside to it. Number one, they can haul what they want.
Yep,
They can speed what they want.
Yep.
What the heck? It takes care of a lot of problems down there.
yes, it does. And like I said, it would be an entire different situation if that was blacktop in the next county, but it's not.
Well,
Exactly.
and I'm the same way. I'll go on board today, and I don't care if it's that road or any other one. It does not pay to resurface a section of pavement that turns into gravel.
Yeah.
Think about
That's
it.
just what we were saying.
Why isn't it all gravel? Now, Highway 5,
That
pavement
connects.
starts and it connects to 30.
Yeah.
there's a county highway paved that connects to another highway.
Correct.
But when you got 4 miles or 6 miles or 8 miles of pavement and then it goes to gravel anyway,
Yeah, not only that.
I don't know what
five-
their thinking was way back then.
But 5 connects with other counties, actually go along with.
Right,
That makes
that's a
big
different
difference.
story.
You know, if you look at Wells County's highways, 69, the Sykeston Highway is
That goes
pavement on
nowhere.
both ends.
Yeah,
Goes to
Okay,
that-
Old
that's-